Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be creating our game view model. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to first create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one model. And this move is basically our model. So I'm just going to move that file inside the models folder. And we're going to create a new folder called ViewModel. And inside this, we will create an empty file. We're going to call this game view model. Okay, let's go ahead and start with import of SwiftUI. That will actually help us import foundations as well, and we are also going to import GameKit. Okay, GameKit is the the AI engine that we're going to use for this game. So our opponent can be an AI opponent, essentially playing against us. Okay, now there are going to be a few variables, so let's go ahead and start. So first two variables are going to be our move variables. So first one is basically the player's move. The second one is going to be opponent's move. And before that, actually I forgot something. We need to import observation. Okay, so we can decorate our class with @observable. Okay, so we're going to create our final class. We're going to call this game view model, and it will not have to conform to any protocol because we are marking the whole thing as observable. Now any property that we define here is going to be implicitly published property, and we're going to first define our player's move, and which is going to be a move of optional type. Then we're going to have opponent move, which is again going to be an optional type as well. Now we want to maintain result, player score, and opponent score. So who won? Player score, how many games did player win, and how many games did opponent win. So all that are going to be stored inside some variables. So first one is result. It is going to be a string type. Okay, and we're going to have empty string as the initial value. Then we're going to have player score. It is going to be int type with value as 0, and then we're going to have opponent score with value as 0, integer type. Okay, now we are going to create our AI opponent. Now the AI opponent that we are going to create is going to be something called GK random distribution. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and first create that, and then we're going to talk about GK random distribution. So we're going to create a private let AI opponent. Okay, and it's not going to be AI controller, but rather it will be GK random distribution. Okay, and GK random distribution takes an input for lowest value and highest value. So let's go ahead and set the lowest value as 0 and highest value as 2. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the GK random distribution. So GK random distribution is basically a type defined in Apple's gameplay kit framework. Okay, so if we jump into the definition, we can see basically, let's see if we can see the class. There we go. Okay, so it's basically a class inside the gameplay kit framework, and it provides a way for us to generate random numbers within a specific range while ensuring a uniform distribution. And this uniform distribution is basically that means there's no bias towards any of the possible outcomes. So it just generates a random number distribution. Okay, now it generates these random numbers with the giver lower bound and upper bound, and that's what we are actually providing here with the lowest value and the highest value. Okay, and it actually assigns those equal probability for each number within the range. Okay, so that way your AI opponent starts at a completely random space. It does not have already a bias towards that it's gonna win the game or it's gonna lose the game. Okay, now there are various different types of distributions that you can create. So there is one which is random distribution, which is what we are creating here. Okay, that's uniform distribution. Then you have a Gaussian normal distribution. So instead of this, you can create GK Gaussian distribution. Now this basically follows the Gaussian distribution algorithm, and it creates basically a random distribution based on multiple samplings. Okay, now the other one, or the last variation for the random distribution, is called shuffle distribution, where no repeats takes place until the cycle is complete. Okay, so these are three types of random distributions that are present, and they are actually used in many scenarios. For example, for dice rolls or for playing a game with an opponent. Okay, and it basically generates this content procedurally, and it simulates some of the real world randomness, and that's why we are creating a random distribution to mimic the general world randomness, where it can fall anywhere within the given range. Okay, so that's what this opponent is defined as. Okay, and this class again is defined inside the game kit, so we don't have to do anything inside it. We're just gonna use it, but I just wanted to talk about how it actually works, so you can actually use it inside your own gaming scenarios. Okay, now let's go ahead and move forward and create a function, and this function is gonna be the play function, which is gonna take move as the parameter. So we can set player's move using this, and in this function we're also gonna get an opponent's move. So we're gonna create a function which is gonna generate a random move for the opponent as well. Okay, now if you notice that we are giving the upper and the lower bound as 0 and 2. Now the reason for 0 and 2, because our moves are only 3, and they're indexed if you index them, they're going to be 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this is the range that we are creating. So a random number, AI generated random number, is going to be created within that range, and the integer is going to be given to us as the move for that play. So let's go ahead and create that function, play. We're gonna expect it to be passed in as the move that player can make, and we're gonna set this as player's move. Okay, and at the same time we're gonna ask for opponent's move. Now for this, we're going to create a function called get AI opponent move. Okay, let's go ahead and create that function here, and this function is just going to return a move type. Okay, so first we're going to get a random index, and we're going to get that random index from the AI opponent dot next integer. So it's going to give us next random integer, and what we're going to do is we are going to basically use that index to find the move from the move enum. Okay, so it gives us AI opponent's random move. All right, now once we have our move created for player and opponent, we can actually determine the result. So player has played their move, opponent has played their move. Now we got to compare and see who actually won. Okay, so for that we are going to create a function here, and this function is going to be called determine result, and it's going to take player move and opponent move as the input parameter. We're just going to call it determine winner. So we're going to say let's take it as a parameter, player move and opponent move, and let's return a string. Okay, now we want to return a string and we want to say if players move is equal to opponent move, then it's a tie. Okay, now if that is not the case, else if player move beats the opponent move, in that case we return you win. Okay, and if that is not the case, let's go ahead and return this instead of result. Okay, return else we want to return you lose. Okay, so this is our function to determine winner. Okay, so we're gonna take our result, okay, and populate it by calling the determine winner function. Okay, now we also want to update scores, so update scores for both of our opponent and the player. So we are simply gonna put it in the function as well. So we can say update score if the result is equal to you win. Okay, then we want to increase player score, else if the result is equal to you lose, then we want to increase the opponent's score. Okay, so that's how we are counting our scores. All right, and now we also want to make sure that we reset the game. We have like a way to reset the game. So let's create a function. This is going to be the last function, reset game. Okay, and this will set player move as nil, opponent move as nil, and result as empty. Okay, so all this is basically the main logic for a game. Now, as you can see, because we are using GameKit, we are actually adding some intelligent moves here by leveraging GameKit to determine what the opponent's move is going to be. And that is basically it, that's determining or helping us determine what's the next move that opponent is going to play, which is going to be completely random, and there's going to be a player, and then you just compare the results. So a very basic level, but a very powerful way to add AI component into your app. And in future videos, we're going to see how you can basically increase the complexity to play more complex games with AI using other classes inside the GameKit. But this is a good start. So let's go ahead and keep on going. In the next video, what we want to do is we want to start working on our UI. Our UI is going to be pretty simple. So let's go ahead and hop onto the next UI and wrap it up. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.